Hi, folks. It is the Fighting Nerd and his co-host, Jolly Roger. And this video might make a little people a bit mad. Before I go on, I do want to apologize. I'm still having problems getting my audio and video in sync. I think it's my equipment, and I don't have the means right now to buy better equipment, so we're all just going to have to live with it for now. But I am working on it. But this video is about out of control political correctness and special interest characters being thrown into fiction. Whether these characters be gay, lesbian, transgender, Muslim, whatever socio-political group that they find themselves in, or that the characters are placed in by a creator. Now, I am absolutely not against any character being whatever social group or we'll call them special interest groups for lack of a better term, in a story. Creators should be able to put anything they want into their fiction. Authors can put whatever character they want into fiction. But a character should serve one of two functions, in my opinion. And I think the most important role, and the thing that a character absolutely has to do, is advance a given story. Right? So if you have a transgender character, and that character is rich, and it's interesting, and interacts with the rest of the characters in your story, great. That would be a fantastic character. Right? And the second thing is, if an author wants to promote and advocate for a given social group, gay, lesbian, transgender, Arab, Wiccan, somebody that actually practices the religion of Jedi. If an author wants to put that character in there purposely to advocate, fine, within his rights, and that's kind of what writing is. At least part of what writing is about. But what we're finding now, many times, is characters from a given special interest group. The one in the news most generally now is transgender, are being wedged in to fiction. In some cases, I think against the author's will. Authors are putting gay and lesbian, transgender characters, whatever, the special interest characters, they're putting those characters in there for fear of being labeled homophobic or racist or gender biased or whatever label that they want to have. Or they're just being shamed into it or peer pressured into it by the artistic community or the intelligentsia. And I think that does a disservice not only to the authors, but to the readers, and also it does a disservice to the given gender group. And what's made me think about this, there's a popular television series on that had a given character. I'm not going to name the series, but it is indicative of the type of thing that's going on. Where there was a character, a female character, who was a straight. Every indication was straight. She was going out on dates with men. And then second season, zap, she discovers she's a lesbian. She realizes she's been a lesbian all along. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but it really made me suspect that the writer sat down, well, our network or our production company or the show doesn't have enough gay characters in it, so we better put one in there, or somebody's going to want to boycott us or going to label us homophobic. And that's a phenomenon that's going on everywhere. And the reason I'm doing this video is, as I've told you before, I write fiction, I write science fiction, I write fantasy, and I've done some historical fiction. And I'm not a huge following. Obviously, look at the equipment I'm using, look where I'm at. I'm not making it say it's money, but I do have some readers, and I've gotten some feedback. And a couple of times I have been asked why I have no gay characters in my books. And the answer to that is that I've never had a really good idea for a character that is gay. I don't sit down and say I'm going to have an African character or an Israeli character or whatever. I come up with characters. And then they develop traits as I go that will forward the story in some way. Now, if you look at my Fireteam Alpha books, for instance, you will see I have an Israeli woman who is a Jew. I have a Kenyan woman. I have an American Indian man. I have an Asian. So I have no compunction about different groups. But if I ever have a gay character in one of my books, and I might, it's not going to be because, well, I need to reflect diversity and seem like I'm enlightened, and I don't want to be ridiculed. So I'm just going to put this character in there who's gay. I'm going to give him a name and I'll give him a few lines to placate people. Because I think that does a disservice to whatever group that given character happens to be. And I don't want to get into specifics, but there is an author who I'm very fond of. I love her books. Very popular urban fantasy series, who has introduced a transgender character. And that character also has a very prominent homosexual marriage and married couple in this book. And I love the books. And the couple involved in the homosexual marriage are quite entertaining. I think they're great. And then with this transgender thing, and I could be wrong, I have not spoken to this particular author. I don't know what her motivations were. But it just seems like, okay, well, transgender, I don't want to get labeled as not doing anything for transgender. And we can get a transgender character that's being persecuted and everything. And that may be where she is wanting to advocate and educate about the transgender issue. And if that's the case, I think it's great. But you do see where they're just kind of jammed in there because neither the powers that be have an agenda, and they want their publishing company or their production company or whatever to be more diverse socially and ethically and racially, whatever. Or if they just think the public is going to boycott them, some special interest group is going to target them for not having these characters. And I think that belittles those groups. I think it belittles gays when authors are forced to put those characters in their books for no reason. They become tokens, and that, in my mind, belittles them as people And that's the thing I want to get across here more than anything else. I don't believe that there are gay men. There are not gay women. There are not transgender men or women. They are people that happen to be gay. They are people that happen to be lesbian. There are people that happen to be transgender. There are people that happen to be white. There are people that happen to be black. They're people. And I think that authors have to realize that they're characters that happen to be this, that, or the other thing. And a character's primary purpose in a story has to be the forward story, because a story has to entertain. If it doesn't entertain, then ultimately the advocacy in a given story isn't going to matter, because nobody's going to read it. Nobody's going to watch it. So people are sort of straight. People have certain traits, but they're people first. We keep trying to define people by pigeonholing them into groups. White male, black female, Protestant, Catholic, Wiccan, Buddhist. Okay? We can't. You take a character, the character is a person. That person is a person who comes from Israel and is of the Jewish faith, is from Saudi Arabia, it is of the Islamic faith. That is a trait that can describe them, but those groups that they belong to do not define them. So, and that's what I really want to get. If you have, a diverse character base of whatever, as I said, whatever religion, whatever their gender is, whatever their sexual preference, whatever their race, make sure that they're in there. The authors need to make sure that they're in there because they want them there, not because they think they should have them there. And certainly not just to avoid being harassed and labeled as a racist or a homophobe or whatever. So, that's the rant. And as I said, I'm not trying to offend everybody. My books are racially and politically and religiously diverse. I haven't done anything with the whole gender issue yet because, frankly, it never really occurred to me because I never had a character spark in my idea that had that particular trait. Might happen one day. Don't know. So, I will leave you with this admonishment and this request. Remember that words make history. This is the Fighting Nerd. And I bid you once again, good night.